Hey guys, my name is Antonio Arce, and in this video I want to show you how do we add a screen to add or edit records from a gallery in Power Apps. So we're going to continue based on the previous video I recorded with SharePoint databases. So if you haven't watched it yet, just refer to that one and then jump to this one. So let's get started. So now we're going to show you how you add a screen, add a form, and connect those so that you can save a new record or edit an existing one. So the first step you gotta do is to go to insert. Now we're gonna be inserting a new screen. So once you go to insert, you wanna select new screen. And once you click here, you're gonna see several options. Now in this case, we're gonna keep it simple and just use a blank one. So as you can see, I added a second screen. Another thing I recommend you doing is to actually rename this so you know which screen it is. So it's easier for you to select the right screen you want to work on. So let's call the first one main screen. I usually follow this camel nomenclature. And then I'm going to say the add edit screen because we're going to use it for both, right? We're going to use the same screen for adding or editing a screen. So in order to kind of maintain the same format, what you can do is, just select this banner or rectangle you got there with a text box. Just select both using Control key plus your mouse, right? Once you have those, just click Control C or copy, and you can go to the other screen. Just do a paste or Control V. So the shortcuts that you already know from Excel, they work in Power Apps. So now let's just rename it so we know where we're talking about here. I just selected the text box and I'm gonna change the property that's called text. So let's look here. And what I want to change this to is to, saying add or edit screen. So we know, or the user know where is working, right? Or what kind of action he's doing in each one of the screens. Now, what we want to do now is to actually add a form. The form will contain the fields that are going to be associated to your item, uh, and which is going to be the record that you're going to edit. Or in a case of a new record, the form is going to be blank, but it's going to generate a record on your SharePoint list based on the values of the fields in this screen. So what we want to do here is to insert a form, but in this case, we're going to insert an edit one. In the previous one, I showed you how to insert a display, so it's only displaying, but this one is more important because you actually edit the fields. So once you select it, this is your form. The reason why you see this kind of empty database where is because you haven't connected to a data source. Now, we know we already have a SharePoint list, which is our data source, and that's the one we want to pick. So we select here on data source, right? You select the form, you make sure you're on the form, and on source, you will go to do database, which is our SharePoint list that we created for this app. Once you select it here, it's going to automatically kind of populate all the fields it kind of understands that you may want, but you can edit those later. And later we're gonna watch a video or record a video to explain you how to do so. For now, let's just keep it simple. Imagine you have already all the fields. If you want to mess with it, I'm not gonna explain in this video, but just go to edit fields. Here you can add and move the location each one of this, right? So that way you kind of move the location of each one of the fields. Just wait for the other video. I'm gonna explain this in detail. So now that we added a form that already is linked to our data source, somehow we need to connect it to the screen, right? So it knows that we're editing the screen or the item that you got selected in this gallery, or that you want to add a new one. So what we're gonna do is I would recommend you make sure you have this gallery name some kind of way that you can refer to it later because we're gonna call it. It's called main task gallery. So what we're gonna do on this tree view, actually, you can move from one screen to the other one since you don't have the buttons already created. So, but in this case, what we want to do is say, right, this form. Just make sure you got the form. When we go to advanced, we're going to say that the item is going to be the main task gallery dot selected, right? Because the gallery contains a bunch of records. You just, for a form, you're basically displaying the fields of this just one record. So this is really important. So now, as you can see, it actually loaded with the information you got from your previous screen. So you got a connection already between screens, which is great because you can pass information, save, edit, all that kind of stuff already connected to whatever you select on the gallery. So for example, I'm gonna select play here. I'm gonna select this one. I'm gonna remove the play and go to the second screen, right? When you go here, now it has the description of that first item. If I go back and select the second one, then I'm gonna have the description of the second item. So it's already connected. Now let's make this a little bit more friendly. Add some buttons in here so we can do whatever we want to. So the first button we want to do, we're gonna add here. I'm gonna add in terms of you can add buttons, right? In here, you can add a button here. But in this case, I'm gonna add an icon. I prefer icons; is more user friendly. You can kind of display what you want to do. So in this case, we want to add a record, right? So we're gonna click here, and this button, what I wanted to do right now, it's just an icon, right? You can actually go to properties. You want to kind of see it better. Just add change the color of it, move it around, make it bigger. And what we want to do in this screen, this button, whenever we select it, we want to go to our other screen, be able to add a record, and then save that. So in order to do that, we need to pass several commands in this icon. And what we want to write is, they're basically two things. Once you select the icon on the unselect property, right, make sure you're there or just select it here so you can see it better. Unselect. In here, we're going to say, okay, this is basically the trigger, right? Whenever you click there, which is unselect, is going to happen whatever you write in here. So what we want to do is to add basically you gotta, in order to add a new record, you need to tell the form that you want to add it so that it knows the difference between add or edit. So in this case, you gotta do, you're gonna say new form. You say new form, you're basically telling, hey form, go ahead and reset yourself because I'm gonna add a new record. That way, whenever you click save or click submit, really, we're gonna show that later, it's gonna submit a new record instead of submitting a edited one. So what we wanna do here is new form, and that form was called form one. We could have changed the name if you liked. In this case, we just left it as form one. You at new form, the parameter expects is the name of the form, so you're ready, right? The other thing you gotta do now is add a command to actually move to the other screen, which is called add edit screen. So in order to add one command after the other one, you gotta separate each one of them by semicolons, right? You could continue to write here. The command to navigate to the other screen is called navigate. And then you open parentheses, and then now you specify the screen. Look that whenever you're typing, right, it's already kind of filtering what you can select. So in this case, you want to navigate to the add edit screen. So you select here. I personally prefer to add a return to each one of the comments, so that way I can indent them if needed when I'm working with logic, right? When we have if this happens, then do this, otherwise do that. I kind of indent them so that it's easier to read the code. In this case, I have two comments. I would like to just to separate them. Another trick I actually do so that next month when I'm opening this app and I have worked with 10 more or apps, right, it will be kind of lost. So what we can add in here is comments, right? You can select here, type these slashes and say, okay, this comment resets the form to add a new record, right? That way you can have your code commented so you can easily refer to it. So remember, whatever you put after those slashes, the program Power Apps will not do anything with it. So you can just write in whatever you want there. So this command navigates to the other screen. Good. Right. So now I have my comments ready. My button is ready with the code I need to add a new form, to add a new record. So what I'm gonna do is click play. Now, when you click here, you're gonna see it actually resetted the form. Previously, we had values in there. Now we actually reset it. There's nothing, and so makes the form ready to be submitted. Now, the next thing we want to add here is basically a button to actually save it. So we're gonna add a button to do. We're gonna do another icon, and we're gonna use in this case the save button. Again, you can move it on this side. I prefer it here. You can really place it wherever you prefer. So now you click properties. In this case, I'm going to turn it white so that I have a contrast there. I have a save button here. Now I'm going to go to the advanced and the unselect feature. Oh, trigger. I'm going to say, okay, whenever you click here, you're going to do a submit. What tool is going to submit? Oh, it's actually submit form. Remember that one. Now it recognizes, it asks me which form, which is this one. It should be an edit one in order to submit it. And that will do it actually. That will just submit the form, create a new record. Now, what you may want to do is probably add a semicolon and then do a back comment. A back comment, what it's going to do is going to basically move or navigate to your previous screen. So you can click here, and the way you actually kind of shift those downwards, you click shift and kind of and click enter. So shift enter basically will do this. So now I want to add a comment here. This will return to the previous screen. And this will save the record. This will save the record. Oh, oh, come on. There we go. Right. So now I have a form, a screen that actually submits your new record and saves it. So let's test that out. Let's see if it works. So the project names are going to be Power Apps Edit at Screen. The title is This is my new video. Task record video. Then task description, you can explain, just add or you want to add here. I'm going to type in test for now. The owner, I can just select the owner of this. I can say maybe Antonio.arce. Let's see what comes here. And then actually click something I shouldn't. You can select the status. So it's going to be whip. And the due date is going to be today. Just click OK. And now I'm going to submit it. And since you saved it, basically you have the submit button plus you had the back, it actually returned to my previous screen, and it actually I got a new record here. So now I have a button that actually can add records to my app. Now the other one you want to do is probably an edit. In order to do an edit, it's going to be very similar. You can actually go to icons here, click edit. You can select any icon in there. In this case, I just go with standard ones from Power Apps, so that way I can maintain, my apps be looking and feeling the same, right, to all my users. So click here. You want to add this white, so you have the same contrast. And in this case, we want to edit. So in this case, what we want to do is go to advanced. Once you have the icon selected, go to the advanced trigger, or you can just do it here, right? It's easier here. And what we want to do is previously we added new form, right? That was the command and then the name of the form. In this case, since we want to edit, we're going to say edit form. We're going to open parentheses, select the form, close it out here, select some, add semicolons, right? Shift Enter. So you can return it, and then we want to do a navigate, similar to what we did in the add button. And in this case, we're going to navigate to where? To my add edit screen. So now we should be good to go. And click play. So let's say I want to select this test task and I want to edit this one, right? So when I move to this screen, it actually provides me the information from the item I selected from my main gallery. So let's say I want to edit this one. My project is going to be, then I'm going to work on a Excel project. And it's going to be similar. I'm going to record videos. And task name, probably I should have gotten rid of this title field, but anyways, let's say this is what I wanted to edit and maybe change the date to, probably I can meet it on July, right? This is my to-do list. And I will just click save. As you can see, it actually changed to Excel project. If you wanted to change this, remember that you gotta edit that field, right? Let's see which field is this one. So this is the task name. So I wanna go click play, click edit here. Oh, actually you got it. You have to select that one. Oh, we still had it, right? So the task name, I'm gonna say Excel video in caps. I'm gonna save it and let's see if it actually saved it. So as you can see now, it actually saved this one. If I wanna change this task name to, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be my PowerPoint video. And then click save, or change actually the status to complete it and click save here. You can see that all my changes are reflected on this record. So basically that's how you add a screen to add or edit a records in an app. Now there's one thing we're missing, and it's a back button, right? If I go to that screen and just want to cancel out without saving it, I should have a back button that returns me to that place, right? But we already know what command we should use, right? It's the back in parentheses that will return to my previous screen. So what we want to do now, go to icons, and let's just look to something similar to a back, right? So let's say I want to do a left here. And this left, I'm gonna put the white for contrast, since I got a dark blue there. So I click here, and in this case, unselect, right? Or go in here, whichever you prefer. You can type in back, open parentheses, close that out. Now I have something that actually goes back here. Now, this is one tip I'm gonna add. As you can see my cursor here, I don't know what these buttons are gonna do. So what you may want to do to each one of the buttons or fields is maybe add a tooltip. A tooltip, which is one of the properties of this control. You can go to advanced, right? First select your icon, then go to advanced, and here you're gonna see a property called tooltip. And you can say this button will return you to the previous one screen. And now when I click play, right, I'm the user, I don't know what this button does. I just click here. This button will return you to the previous screen. So when I click here, we have the back function in there or command. It already backs me up. So that's basically how you add a screen, edit a screen, sorry, be a record, and you actually manage and navigate through your screens. So well, I hope this video was useful. Remember, if you haven't watched the previous one, just follow the link someplace in this video, and please subscribe. We're gonna continue to create more content, really great content for basically minimize the bad experience or kind of lengthy experience on learning Power Apps. I will try to summarize and show and explain to you what kind of issues I got when learning this stuff. All right, guys. So see you on the next one.